What if I told you there's an artificial intelligence tool that can clone your voice with just a few minutes of audio, narrate your videos while you sleep, and even make you speak languages you've never learned in your life? Sounds like science fiction, rank. Well, it's not. It's called ElevenLabs. It's valued at over $3 billion, and more than 1 million people are already using it to create content, scale businesses, and make money. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly what it is, how it works, how much it costs, and whether it's really worth it. Okay, let's start with the basics, because honestly, the official description of ElevenLabs on their own website is a mess. It says something like, AI voice models and products powering millions of developers, creators, and businesses. What does that mean? I'm going to explain it to you the way I understand it after having used it. ElevenLabs is an artificial intelligence tool that creates voices that sound like real people. It's that simple. You write some text, choose a voice, and in a matter of seconds, that voice narrates what you wrote. No microphones, no voice actors, no recording studios. All from your computer. And it's not a small or experimental tool. This company's valued at over $3 billion and already has more than 1 million active users around the world. That doesn't happen by accident. Now, who's using it? This is where it gets interesting. First, there are content creators. There are completely anonymous YouTube channels, no faces, no real voices, that are racking up hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of views. And all their videos are narrated by a voice generated with ElevenLabs. Second, big companies. The game Fortnite, for example, used ElevenLabs to bring Darth Vader's voice into the game. That's not an experiment anymore. That's industry. And third, there are podcasters and writers who use ElevenLabs to produce audiobooks and entire podcasts without having to record or hire voice actors. What I find most powerful about all this is that ElevenLabs isn't just a tool to save time, it's a tool to scale. Because if before you could produce 1 video a week by recording yourself, with ElevenLabs you could make 5, 10, or as many as your strategy needs without depending on your voice, your microphone, or your availability. And that, in the world of digital content, is a huge game changer. Alright, now we know what it is. Now comes the important question. How does this work on the inside? Because ElevenLabs isn't just one thing, it's several tools within a single platform, and each one serves a different purpose. I'll explain them to you one by one. The first and most commonly used is text-to-speech. This is the main feature. You go into the platform, type the text you want to narrate, choose a voice from their library, which has dozens of options, and hit a button. In a matter of seconds, that voice reads everything you wrote. It's that easy. And the quality is impressive. It doesn't sound robotic, it doesn't sound like your car's GPS, it sounds like a real person speaking naturally. I've tried it myself, and the difference compared to other tools is obvious from the very first try. The second tool is voice cloning, and this one honestly blows my mind the most. With just a few minutes of your audio, ElevenLabs can create a digital clone of your voice. And when I say clone, I mean it. Upload 3 minutes of a recording of yourself, and the platform generates a synthetic voice that sounds exactly like you. I've seen cases where people who know the creator can't tell which is the real voice and which is the cloned one. The third tool is the voice changer. This one works differently. Instead of typing text, you record your own voice, saying what you want, and ElevenLabs transforms it into a completely different voice. Imagine you're creating a video with several characters. You don't need to hire actors. You record everything yourself and tell ElevenLabs to turn each part into a different voice. It's like having a dubbing studio on your computer. And the fourth tool, which I think has the most potential for content creators, is dubbing. This feature takes your voice or your video and automatically translates it into other languages. Your voice speaking in English, French, Portuguese, German without you ever having studied any of those languages in your life. Just think about that for a second. If today you reach 10,000 people in Spanish, with this tool you could reach 100,000 more who speak other languages. That directly translates into more views, more subscribers, and more money. Okay, now we get to the part everyone cares about. How much does this cost? Because ElevenLabs has several plans, and honestly, some are a really good deal while others just aren't worth it depending on your situation. I'll explain them to you from my experience and from the perspective of a content creator. The first thing you need to know is that ElevenLabs is free to start. The free plan gives you about 10 minutes of high-quality audio per month, or double that, around 20 minutes, if you use the turbo model, which is a slightly less detailed version, but still works well for many cases. The most important limitation of the free plan is that you can't use it for commercial purposes. In other words, if you're going to monetize your videos on YouTube, you need to switch to a paid plan. But to try out the tool and see if you like it, the free plan works perfectly. Next is the starter plan, which costs around $5 a month. With this one, you can use ElevenLabs for commercial content, and it gives you about an hour of audio per month. If you're just starting out, posting one video a week and want to see if this works for your channel, this plan is enough to get started without risking much money. Next is the creator plan, which is around $22 a month, and is what I consider the sweet spot for most creators. It gives you around 200 minutes of audio per month, and if you use them all, you can buy additional minutes at 15 cents per 1,000 characters. That means you never get stuck in the middle of a project. Then there's the Pro plan, which is around $100 a month and gives you about 1,000 minutes. This one is for creators who are already producing content consistently and at scale, or for small teams sharing the account. And finally, the scale and business plans, which are more robust before you get to enterprise. These give you a huge amount of credits, enough to produce dozens of long videos per month. If you're at a point where content is your main business, and you want to multiply your production by 10, these are the plans for you. Now we've reached the moment of truth. Let's start with what it does well, because there's a lot. The quality of the voices is genuinely impressive. We're not talking about the typical monotone robot voice you've been hearing in text-to-speech for the past 10 years. ElevenLabs voices have nuance, emotion, and natural pauses. I've used them in my own projects, and the difference compared to other tools is immediate. Plus, the platform's easy to use. You don't need to know anything about programming or audio production to start getting results from day one. And voice cloning is still one of the most amazing features I've tried in any AI tool. But now comes the part that's not so great. Consistency isn't always perfect. I've seen cases where the voice clone slightly changes its accent between segments, mispronounces some proper names, or loses emotional tone in longer texts. The other point I can't ignore is the ethical issue. ElevenLabs makes voice cloning accessible to anyone, and that has consequences. If you're gonna use voice cloning, use it responsibly, with your own voice or with the explicit permission of whoever it belongs to. So, is ElevenLabs worth it? My answer is yes, but with conditions. It's worth it if you're a content creator and want to scale your production without having to record every line yourself. It's worth it if you want to reach audiences in other languages without hiring translators or voice actors. It's worth it if you produce audiobooks, podcasts, or any format where audio's the main focus. But it's not magic. You have to review the outputs, manage your credits well, and use it as an amplifier for your work, not as a replacement for your creative judgment. Right now, there's a promotion where the creator plan is 50% off for the first month. I am going to leave the link in the description below. And that is all for now.